a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
That the total value added tax VAT shared by states increased in January to 1.08 trillion naira from the 913.96 billion naira recorded in 2025 December. And also we understand that the sharing formula adjustment has kicked in, and now the federal government takes only 10%, states take 55%, and local governments take 35%, and of course they get to share all of those sums remaining after VAT deductions at source have been made. For January, 79.94 billion naira was deducted. And we are hoping that all of these monies are put into good use by the custodians, who now happen to be state administrators, federal and local government administrators. Also, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, has thrown its weight behind Erufai and Abubakar Malami. That's our former Kaduna State Governor and former Attorney General of the Federation, respectively, alleging that the law is being selectively applied, hence the ordeal that the both men are going through. It's expected that the ADC would have something to say in support of their people, but the big question is, are Nigerian laws selectively applied, regardless of who is in the box at the moment? And also, the All Progressives Congress APC has concluded processes of appointing new executives across different states in the country. They are headed for inaugurations, apart from one or two states where they are having court issues, interlocutory injunctions, and all of that. And looking around the world, we are having the Middle East war affecting all prices, and consequently households and businesses are affected down to our home country, Nigeria. All of these and many more we'd get to look at on today's edition of the Polity. Good morning to you and welcome. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ibuka, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Chisman. If I say happy anniversary to you, of course, you have to give me a hearty response.
Oh, yes.
Because the month of March is the anniversary month for Udala Radio. Of course, you've been following us, you know that Udala Radio had the first active voice on radio that was on 21st of March 2025. And we're inching closer to marking that 1 year anniversary. So we are glad that you have stuck with us since we started and all this while. You know, the customers, the listener, of course, we're glad to have you. And we hope that you are going to continue to be with us as we continue to serenade the airwaves. So good morning to everybody. It's very morning. And it's a nice morning for us to look at developments across the polity. And here in Anambra State, we have a couple of things coming from the home front. Of course, yesterday at the Doji Secretariat, it was not in Dinakwa because the February salary for civil servants came in, and some persons were seeing deductions in their salaries, and they were crying foul, asking questions. And the government has explained that because you failed to show up for work on Mondays, that's why you're having such lash. But we have heard some complaints about irregularity in the slashes because some workers were complaining that from the deductions they saw, it was more when compared to the number of days they failed to report to work on Monday. So that one is on one hand. Then also here in Anambra State, just mentioned the completion of APC congresses, and here in Anambra State, a former senator representing Anambra North, Senator Emmanuel Nosike, he matched the chairman of the APC in Anambra State. And guess what? He marched through a consensus. Not just him and the members of the state air school, they came through consensus. And the consensus seems to be like the in thing now for political parties. They have now found a way of electing party air schools or flag bearers through consensus. Maybe that could be the reason National Assembly decided to acknowledge consensus and direct primary as the only means of primary election. Then away from this, we'll talk about other developments whereby yesterday Mr. President nominated Taiwo Oedele as the Minister of State for Finance. And that nomination has raised questions about whether he is going the tribal way or not, because people are trying now to profile the appointments he made in the area of the economy for Nigerians, and it's been out there whether he's doing the right thing in terms of federal character, or he's just trying to populate his government with people from his tribe and from his geopolitical zone. And guess what? It seems Minister Uzoka Anite has maybe I don't know if she has become a pawn, because the president we have, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he is about 3 years in office, and guess what? Uzoka has been sent to 3 different ministerial positions in just within 3 years.
At least she's not been booted out.
But people are asking whether she's a pawn in the hand of the government, because why would her position be reshuffled for an incoming person at any point of slightest reshuffle? What? But like you said, she has not been booted out because she has a strong backing. Of course, her nomination got the imprimatur of the governor of Imo State, who is a strong person in the APC. So that explains why she's been there. So lots of things out there. And another thing on the international scene is the jostle for who is going to replace Antonio Guterres as the Secretary General of the United Nations. And from what we gathered, former president of Senegal, Macky Sall, is in the lead. He's pushing to get a very north. So while we begin conversations, we'll be able to touch some of these things.
All right, then, Dr. Chonili Sambeki. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Shisam Chinet. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, Ndi Onitsha Donidu. Good morning, Ndi Osumo. Good morning, Ndi Afia, Ndi Oloyibo, Ndi Oluaka. Different communities, different towns around here. Good morning, everyone. And it's also another day, beautiful Wednesday morning. Today being the 4th day in the month of March in the year 2026. We are still in the month of Lent. It seems that people are no more talking about Lent. But all the same, we pray that the blessings of this day shall abide and also prosper us. And we thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His grace, for His love, for His kindness in all we've been doing. And we praise Him all the time. You're welcome. Sit back and enjoy the program.
Now we're going to start by telling you what the front pages say, but right before that, remember we are live on Facebook. It is Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Like the post, like the page, and of course share the page for other people to be a part of the great work we are doing here. On our desk this morning, we have the Guardian, This Day, the Punch, and the Vanguard newspapers. And now on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, faulty design, vandalism, neglect, endanger $3.5 billion rail overhaul. Find the story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. And former herded clashes claim 3,000 lives, displace 300,000 in 5 years. This is on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. FG approves AI, robotics, coding, cybersecurity centers in 6 varsities. On page 4, Middle East war lifts crude, pushes petrol near 1,000 naira. As Nigeria counts gains and risks on page 6. Umahi Ohiri bicker over allegation as Hiriwa demands probe on page 7. And you recall the story of the woman who accused former governor of Ebonyi State and now Minister of Works Dave Umahi of owing her to the tune of over 300 million naira from a contract executed over 10 years ago. Tinubu reshuffles Finance Ministry, nominates Oyedele as Minister of State on page 4. And MDCN confirms negligence and death of Chimamanda Adichie's son on page 4. Beneath the name page of the paper, Quarter Jones files $1 billion, a 1 billion naira rights suit against ICPC on page 3. ADC warns FG against selective justice, backs Rufai Malami on page 3 as well. FG rolls out 1% presumptive tax on informal sector, bans roadblocks on page 3.
Somebody might want to ask if federal government is aware that such thing has been banned, because because when you talk about this kind of things in Nigeria, that they have banned the collection of cash and the roadblocks for tax and what have you not. You keep on wondering whether it's in this very country or whether it's going to work somewhere else.
Or whether they are just talking for talking's sake.
Exactly. And eventually, is there any law that has, prohibited that? Because if you eventually get to arrest people who are doing that, do you have a law under which you are going to try them? Or are you just going to crown them in the prison and they'll add to the number of awaiting trials we have in our prisons? Now, let's look at the headlines we have on Vanguard newspaper. And the big story here says, Middle East war, homes, factories hard hit as fuel prices rise. That story is on page 5. It has a header that says crude oil prices lift further to $84 per barrel. I expect more increase. Hard times. CPPE. I think yes, 2 days ago was $80 per barrel, and now it's $9.84. Maybe by tomorrow it could reach up to $90 or even $100 per barrel. And we know what this foretells for Nigeria, because the more the price of crude oil increases, it's going to affect the price of petrol here in Nigeria. VAT revenue rises 34% to 6.4 trillion naira in 9 months. It has a header that says as company income tax grows 48% to 7.72 trillion naira. The story is on page 19. 2027 presidency, no northerner should run. Fintiri. The story is on page 9. I read in another paper where he said that he has now severe ties with Atiku because of politics, and that tells you once you cross over, of course, you begin to make new friends across the divide. Quite interesting. El Rufai, DSS arrest, hands 5 security officers to ICPC. The story is on page 6. This story is quite interesting. They arrested security operatives, members of immigration and what have you not, because they tried to stop ICPC operative from having access to arrest El Rufai. And they're saying that why they're going to try them is because they took bribe for them to have carried out that very job. And I'm asking, is it because that all eyes are on El-Rufai and federal government wants to nail him by all means? Is that why they're just picking up this very well? Because on daily basis, we know that these security guys, they collect bribe to do one daily job or the other. Then look at another headline that says MDCN suspends CMD, 2 other doctors over death of Chimamanda's son. The story is on page 6. They said they've been able to establish a prima facie case against these very persons. Another story says Joint Revenue Board bans roadblocks for tax, levies collections. The story is on page 19. 2027, defecting governors tighten grip as APC gets new state chairman. Check page 7. Tinubu nominates Oyedele as new finance minister of state. It's on page 9. Beneath the surface, how Cross River girls are trapped in Cote d'Ivoire sex trade. The story is on page 11. An interesting read, you might want to find that, so that if your daughter tells you that she's going to Cote d'Ivoire, going to Somali or somewhere else for a business, so that
to work,
able to know, of course, you know where they are headed
and what they are going to do.
Exactly. So these are the headlines we have on the front page of Vanguard.
On this day newspaper, panel finds prima facie case of negligence and death of Chimamanda's son. On page 9, there are others here. 3 doctors suspended. Case referred to disciplinary tribunal. Eurocare responds. Conflict widens. US asks citizens to leave Middle East. On page 9 as well. Oil price exceeds $85 a barrel, first time in 21 months. Trump strikes skilled leaders. US soar successes. IMF tensions heightening global economic uncertainty. Mass funeral held for children killed in strike on school. That's the saddest part of it.
War spares nobody. I read a post which was made by Senator Sani, where he listed a number of things that happen when there is a war. And I look at Iran. This very bombardment that began on Saturday, as we speak, not less than 723 persons have been killed in Iran. And that tells you that more are going to be killed in the coming days, because US and Israel, they are not looking back. They want to ensure that they take away the government in Iran now. So let's look at the stories we have on the front page of the Punch. The big story says tax law, VAT hits record 1 trillion naira as new sharing era begins. The story is on page 2. It has some rider states LG's pocket 909 billion naira under revised revenue sharing formula. FG's share dropped to 10% as subnationals gain larger slice. Lagos leads with 101 billion naira VAT allocation in January. Then this one says APC inaugurates state LG schools after consensus polls. Beside the nameplate, Iran-Israel tensions. Airlines lose over 7.5 billion naira amid grounded flights. The story is on page 21. Tinubu nominates Oyedele as minister. Page 7. Customers to get 20 billion naira meter refund from Disco's neck. The story is on page 11. Maybe I should say this story is of particular interest to me, because they are saying that those who got their prepaid meter through meter asset provider scheme, the one they call MAP, that they are giving these schools mandates to now begin to refund them in terms of energy tokens, because they have looked at the books to see that these discos are owing up to 20 billion in energy tokens they're supposed to give to these very guys. And I said, I'm one of them, because that was last year, of course, when I procured my meter. That was about 68,000 naira. And by the time I began the process, I was told that they were going to reimburse me by virtue of credit unit. Now, and guess what? I've moved away from where I installed the meter, right? So if they're going to begin to reimburse now, someone else who will now pack in, or who has packing, is the one who is going to gain from it. So, and
you couldn't take your meter. It means
no, you can't. You can't.
And that's the major reason why it should be provided by the government.
Of course, should be everywhere. Of course. So for now, I'm just wondering, why did this close? Because initially the plan is that this goes once somebody procures a meter through this map system, once the person begins to use, we begin to reinforce the person. But because these goals have not been genuine, they have not been dutiful, they have not shown transparency and integrity. They have deferred all these things for a long while. I don't know when we're going to get it right in this very country.
Everything about electricity, discourse, gencos is a very sad tale. You wouldn't believe that they tell you they are load shedding, Frank. And when they shed the load, when it is the turn of a particular region or place area to have the supposed lights, you won't see light for up to 4 hours.
Like now, I belong to a WhatsApp group where we have EEDC, First Power, whatever they call. They're officials. We belong there. People in Norca, people in Onitsha, people in Mbo. Every day you open this very page, one area is complaining about one thing or the other. But one thing is common, that the supply has been abysmally poor and epileptic. And people are asking questions. Is it about First Power or is it about a general thing across the country? Okay. Another headline here says FG bans cash tax collections, revenue roadblocks. That story is on page 21. Baby factory, Ondo couple jailed 14 years. Pages 4 and 5. Rivers Assembly begins screening of 9 Fubara Commissioner nominees. The story is on page 8. This very story is also raising one question because these very Rivers Assembly members, they invited the nominees to come for documentation, but one person among nominees is missing. The former Commissioner for Health in that very state, and the people are asking questions. Why was her name omitted? Because under Fubara, she was one of the performing commissioners in that very state. So these are the headlines we have on the papers this morning. And
so we are going to dig into the conversation proper, Tony. We are starting with the Middle East war and how it is sadly and unavoidably affecting Nigeria. We understand, according to this report by the Punch newspaper, that Nigerians are suffering, the businesses are suffering, households are suffering because of the hike in fuel price. And so let's start with understanding where we stand. $85, that's what a barrel of crude is at the moment. But a lot of Nigerians are asking, Nigeria is the highest oil-producing nation in Africa. And in the League of Oil Producing Nations, Nigeria has its own space, while the Middle East has about 40% of the world's oil coming from there. Is Nigeria not sufficient enough that we are not adversely impacted by what's happening in the international market of crude?
We must understand certain intricacies as it involves the issue of oil business. One thing we should also note for sure is why we are being affected. I'm going to just tell you the major reason. It's because we benchmark our crude oil business around the international prices.
Isn't that how it's supposed to be? I mean, OPEC sets the prices.
Of course, OPEC do set the prices, but countries have its own power to determine its domestic price.
Domestic price.
Yes, we have international price, you have domestic price. But here, we benchmark our oil prices in a way that both the domestic price and international price are the same. And once you have such plan, it means that whatever happens at the international level will affect you locally, because your price is your domestic price, we as international price. If your domestic price, we as international price, whatever happens around the international arenas, corridors, any shock, it will reflect in your domestic price, because your domestic price is rearing the international price. But if you do not do it that way, the country believes that it will not make needed money from the sale of oil. And it is important that people understand. I saw many posts yesterday on this issue, and some asked very pertinent question. Why is Nigeria being affected by what is going on in Iran, or what is going on between Iran and the United States of America, or you put it together, Iran, US-Israel war? People have asked that question. But the truth remains that they have not been able to understand this very issue I explained now. I think DG Adenjo was criticizing Dangote for raising the pump price, saying, why would you do this? You refine the products, you refine the commodity, you do all these things in Nigeria. Why are you now increasing the pump price? As we speak now, pump price is selling in Lagos 937 naira. There are places the pump price is selling at 984. It's believed that the pump price will be somewhat around 1,000 in some parts. So it's averaging 937 in most places, but there are places as well the pump price is 1,000. As I have explained earlier, remember, it's important that we extricate these two things and then ensure that people understand it. Nigeria, why, according to some reports, why it benchmarks its crude oil price to international oil prices is mainly because oil is traded in a global market, not a local one, and this means the price of crude oil is determined by the world demand and supply rather than by a single country. But there are countries that have their domestic price. I can go on and name these countries, and if you look at OPEC rule, it has to do with exports, not internal consumption. As we have said this before, now the sole reason is because Nigeria earns most of its oil revenue from oil, even from export, and then the local consumption, and that was why we removed subsidy, because if we can determine our local prices, we won't be talking about subsidy. Subsidy is when you sell below the international price. When you sell below the international price, that's subsidy, because what it means that government augments the differential. Now, how is it affecting Nigeria? You just explained before now that the price at the international market has gone up. $84 per barrel. That's what it is as we speak right now for Brent crude. Even the Bonny Light, the one Nigeria is known for, is also averaging at that amount, $84 per barrel. Remember, this price jumped from $72 per barrel to where it is now. Before, we are calculating about 9% increase and all that, but it's more than that as we speak now. Why is it so? Because we have explained why the price here in Nigeria is also affected by the global community. We have explained that. Now, why is the global community price affected by what is going on in Iran? The answer we know is very simple. There is what we call Strait of Hormuz. I was studying about that strait yesterday. It's a narrow passage. It's a narrow passage between Oman Gulf and Persian Gulf down to the Arabian Sea. From there, it connects to many oceans of the world. Strait of Hormuz. And that is where we are told 20% of global oil passes that passage on daily basis. 20%. So 1 out of 5 of global oil passes through that very strait on daily basis. We are told that about 21 million barrels pass through that very Strait of Hormuz. And that very Strait of Hormuz, one thing is very close to Iran, and it is threatened. It is volatile.
Yesterday he threatened.
Of course.
Made a threat.
And it is one of the reasons that passage has been disrupted. Oil, if you look at so many countries in the world that produce oil, many of them, they put out their oil tankers through that very Strait of Hormuz. And we know very well that Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, even Iran, they pass through, they make use of that very route. Every day, they make use of that very route. And that route is about 33 kilometers wide. And each shipping lanes used by tankers, I think these shipping lanes are about 3 kilometers wide. But the entire wideness or gamut of that Strait of Hormuz is about 33 kilometers. Just like I said earlier on, about 21 barrels of oil, million barrels of oil pass through this channel on daily basis. We know very well that these are key players in the oil business. Iran cannot ship their oil as we speak today. Kuwait cannot ship their oil as we speak today. Qatar cannot ship their oil as we speak today. United Arab Emirates cannot ship their oil. Even Iran, the epicenter of the conflict, cannot ship their oil. So the oil coming from these countries have been stalled. They have been disrupted. That is why scarcity seems to be taking its root. And we know the major oil users in the world, likes of China, India, Japan, South Korea, and even United States. These are the major oil consumers. They depend on oil shipments that pass through these straits of Hormuz. And many of them, if you go to their countries, the price of oil has also gone up. My concern is the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. Before now, in Nigeria, it's 1,000 naira per kg. As we speak today, it's 1,200 naira per kg.
And it is only going to keep increasing
That is
until
just
this
that.
is resolved.
Because the tension is heightening. And for those who are making use of LPG, that is gas, the cooking gas, we are even grateful that the price went down to 1,000 naira per kg. But as we speak now, it's 1,200 per kg. For those making use of these big trucks, AGO, that is the price of diesel, has also gone up. Before now, it used to be 1,200, but as we speak now, it's 1,300. It tells you that the Gulf of Oman, of course, is borders Gulf or the Persian Gulf, but the Strait of Hormuz is the very important route through these shipments are done, and we have explained that some of the countries that push their oil through that very strait, they cannot do so. 20% of the global oil, 20% pass through that very strait, and that's why the international price is affected. And it's just a situation whereby where the supply is disrupted, the price is always affected and the price goes up. Anytime supply chain of any product, heavily demanded products, once the supply chain is disrupted, the price go up. That's exactly what is going on. So the supply chain of oil has been disrupted by the tension, by the conflict, by the war going on in Iran, because that Strait of Hormuz is just north of Iran. Not very close. And nobody will tread anything at that space because it could be attacked by missile. That is the reason why it is so. So for Nigerians, we benchmark our prices around the international oil mark. And just like I said earlier on, for those criticizing Dangote, that Dangote buys in Naira, why is Dangote increasing his price? Yes, Dangote buys the product in Naira, there's no doubt. But he does not also buy the product at domestic price. He buys it at international price. So whatever is the cost of a liter or a barrel, he pays. So he is buying a barrel of oil at $84 per barrel. But he's not going to pay in dollars. He is going to pay in Naira because
the Naira equivalent.
The equivalent. There will be conversion, even the exchange rate, even the tax. So that tells you that his own price is also affected. But my concern is, Dangote, you know you are a brother. Immediately this thing started, you told us you have so many refined products in your storage tanks. And this one so refined, we are not affected. You did not buy those ones at this new price. Why did you just suddenly increase the price? At least you would have sold off those ones you buy at the old rate and tell us that at so time, in 5 days time, in 4 days time, we will run out of the old stock and the new stock will be so price.
Do you think that if Nigeria had a working refinery, this would be happening?
Even if we have a working refinery, it will still be the same. The point is, your price is benchmarked around the international price.
I mean, where you are the refiner and you are both the...
You talk about how much do you buy the raw crude.
Yes.
That's what determines the price. The price of petrol is determined by the raw crude. How much did you buy it in dollars? We have international price. Unless you try to say, you know what, for domestic consumption, we are not going to rely on international price. You will not be affected by some of these things going on around these countries. But for the fact that your domestic crude, the raw crude, the one that you will refine to get these products, you buy this crude at international price. Whatever happens on international arena affects the price. I don't know if these things are clear.
Okay, so Tony, let me come in here because we have heard from the U.S. President Donald Trump, who is saying that he might be providing Navy ship to escort tankers who are going to pass through that very Strait of Hormuz. But this is just a proposal. Whether he's going to do that, we do not know. And we also know that if he's going to do that, it has its own attendant risk, because Iran has said that anybody that passes through there, they are going to set it on fire. Now, coming back to Nigeria, you talked about why what is happening in Iran now is affecting the price of petrol in Nigeria, and it's quite understood. Now, the dilemma we have is that that Nigeria is Nigeria is a major oil exporting country, and Nigeria earns forex from crude oil export. All right. So if we're going to sell crude oil domestically at a cheaper rate, it could reduce our forex earnings. Then Nigeria is a member of OPEC, and like you said that crude oil pricing follows international market mechanism, which is set by OPEC. Now, if we are going to have a lower domestic crude oil price at which Dangote buys, what that simply means that government revenue is going to drop, and it's going to affect the revenue we have in the federation account. In that very case, what comes to states from FARC is going to reduce. In that very sense, we can see that it's going to have some kind of ripple effect on the subnational economy. Now, we're talking about how do we now go forward? Is there anything we can do? Is there any way we can create something very conducive for us, knowing that it's about how to grow our economy? I'll give you an instance. Before the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Dangote was buying crude oil in dollars until Dangote went ballistic, went on television, spoke all the grammar, exposed all the exposables, and then Tinubu now called for a meeting and said, sell crude to this very man in Naira. And that started. And since then, we have seen some element of stability. And when you talk about our petroleum downstream. So now that we are having this very reality that always faces us anytime we have any slide when it comes to crude oil distribution across the world, how do we go about finding a peculiar solution to our own Nigerian challenge, Tony?
Well, if you are talking about finding a peculiar solution for Nigerian challenge, it must be thinking outside the box. You've just explained that we know very well that if you go this way, look at the consequence. If you go that way, look at what we are going to get. As I explained earlier on, if government tries to set the domestic price of oil, what it means that government revenue will drop sharply. And I'm aware that the government would want to increase the revenue as against the revenue dropping. They will do everything. So it's important that we x-ray these things. But I think there is just slight difference between the domestic price, what Dangote buys. Dangote has come out to say that whatever he buys from the NNPC Limited, he buys at the same price other people are selling. So the issue is the quantity we would want to get from NNPC Limited, because the Bonnet Light is in so much demand. Peculiar arrangement. The peculiar arrangement we could get would be situations whereby we try to say that the differential between the international price and the domestic price could be at least, let's say, $5. At least let's have differential. There are countries that have done that. I'm aware that Saudi Arabia did it. They don't sell to their citizens or to refining oil, the oil refineries in their countries that refine for domestic use. They don't sell at the same price they sell to those who refine for export. They don't sell. So Saudi Arabia has done that, and we also know that even Iran did something of such. I'm also aware that Kuwait did it. I'm also aware that even Qatar also they did it. United Arab Emirates they did it. These are major oil producers. Saudi Arabia consistently has said domestic petrol prices lower than international levels. So then the fuel prices in Kuwait is controlled by by the government. There are places they run subsidy. Before, when Nigeria was running subsidy, that is exactly what that subsidy looks like. Not that the government is spending extra for augmenting the production and the distribution, just because the price is different from the international price, and we are buying it at a low price. If you go around, do you know the price of petrol in Nigeria is cheaper than the one sold in Cameroon?
Yeah, but our currencies are not the same. Purchasing power parity of our currencies are also not the same, Tony. However, I am curious to find out if this is going to be some sort of clarion call to the administrators of this nation to get things rolling. I mean, look at the fact that an administration actually, what is it called now? Kicked off operations in an incomplete refinery. It happened. President Buhari went to a refinery that is not working, and they actually kicked off things. And we were told that it was 60%, it was refining petrol. It was just a matter of time before it shut down. I mean, that manner, that level of deceit to a whole nation, to the most populous black nation is like, I don't have the adjectives to qualify it, but it's just not it, okay? And I'm just wondering if this is going to bring some sort of consciousness to the minds of our leaders. Can we actually have, even if it's just one refinery working, it's going to, to a large extent, take away the woes that we have whenever, all comes to the conversation, or whenever a world power in that industry shakes, we are affected.
We did a refinery because we are beginning to see the monopolistic agenda of Dangote.
Or are you thinking it wasn't going to be monopolistic in the first place? I mean, this is Dangote's operational staff.
So we have seen that the quickness with which he increased the pump price should be noted, should be studied. Ordinarily, he had a refined product. He had refined products in his tanks, in his reservoirs. He has not even exhausted the refined ones. He has increased the price, which for me is not patriotic.
Sorry. From what he did, can we call that business, or can we call that exploitation? In as much as I do not agree totally with what Adeyanju said, because Adeyanju, I looked at what he posted. He said that Dangote increased the price of petrol by 100%. Which he got it wrong. He just said he increased it by a difference of 100 naira, and the guy went and wrote 100%. And
are you sure that's not a typographical error?
That's what he wrote.
That's by the way, it's his opinion anyway.
So for Dangote, from what he's playing out now, because some people are saying he's a businessman, he's there to make his profit. And so is he doing the business as a businessman, or he's exploiting vulnerabilities to put Nigerians under hardship?
For me, it's exploitation. The refinery he built, Nigerian government gave him so much to put up that refinery under President Muhammadu Buhari. We sacrificed our hard-earned dollars to fund the project. Many Nigerians suffered while the project was ongoing. He should show considerations, knowing that his business was facilitated, supported by the government. I'm not saying that if he buys at $84 per barrel, he should say below that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that he had products already refined, bought at old rates.
Old price.
He would have exhausted that old stock, bought at old price, informed everyone that the new price will be taking place or taking effect at so time. For if he had done that, that is patriotism. But one would say, how sure are you that he had not exhausted the old stock? One would ask this question, were you there to find out if he had exhausted the old stock or not? How do you measure when old stocks were exhausted or not? These are critical questions. But we are saying, if he increased the price unilaterally, both the old stock and new stock, it is not patriotic. But if the price increments has to do with new stock, that's business. Because even if we have our own refinery, it will be so. The only difference is that if you have our own refinery, they would not unilaterally increase the price for both old stock and new stock.
Right.
So that's the difference.
So
we need refinery to put him on the toes, that if he goes this way, people can go the other way, and that will force him to show market considerations. Monopoly is bad at all times.
All right, then let's quickly also look at how this impacts the economic activities across the world, not just in Nigeria, not just in Africa. Do you see Israel and US coming to, would I say, an agreement to stop what's happening in Iran, seeing how it's affecting the entire world?
It's a fight to finish. Of course, you know the...
And that means it's only going to get worse, possibly?
They are telling you that in a month time, the whole thing will be over. The plan is to take over Iranian oil assets. It was 2 or 3 days ago I said this, and I'm still saying it. The major reason US attack Iran is because of the oil. Forget all this nuclear program they are using to tell people we are looking at world peace.
The US has so much oil.
The point is this. Let me say this. They have been in Cold War for almost 47 years. And it's a turning point. The war had been on. Immediately, Mohammed Mossadegh was dethroned. In fact, was removed through a coup in 1953. I explained these things the other day. What did Mohammed Mossadegh, the prime minister under the monarch Shah Pahlavi, who was the monarch, and the monarch has no authority, ceremonial. But the US found that this prime minister, he just came into office. The next thing he did was to nationalize every oil asset. Now it becomes Iranian Oil Corporation. Do you know how many US companies that this affected? It affected ExxonMobil, it affected Chevron, it affected Texaco, it affected Florida Oil Standard. Many of oil companies US had in Iran, they were all shut out. And you want the government to be happy? All their investments in Iranian oil, many of them built refineries in Iran. You nationalize everything. Everything is now under the control and grip of the government. Government decide who comes in and who goes out without allowing those who have made huge investments to have a say. US said, oh, it is a question of time. And that time came during the time of Donald Trump. It has been Cold War all this while. Apart from other security issues, other religious issues, and the Iranians started practicing theocracy. That's the government they had. They had monarchical. They migrated from monarchical system to theocratic government. Now, I listened to US Senator yesterday. Do you know what the US Senator said? Cuba, your days are numbered. He said it. So after Venezuela, Iran, the next will be what? Cuba. What did Cuba do? Cuba did the same thing. Cuba removed American-backed President Batista. Just the way Iran removed Shia Pahlavi, because immediately the Mossadegh was removed, Pahlavi was given an absolute power. He now controlled the government, even as a monarch, until the revolution that removed him came in 1979, where Ruhollah Khomeini changed everything. The same thing happened in Cuba. But the US, I remember how they funded to ensure the removal of Castro.
So that's not calling United States to order.
They are protecting their business interests. They don't like communism.
But then we are having people as collateral damages. I mean, look at the fact that Iran, in less than 1 week, we are having over 700,000 people dying. Children, school children, in their numbers also falling to
US will tell you, do you know how many businesses Iran had collapsed as a result of their communist agenda? And the same thing that's what Cuba is doing. Cuba is a communist state, and the way they align with Russia and China. And remember, Cuba to United States of America is about 145 kilometers from Cuba to Florida. And I remember, when they built, they said the Soviet Union brought missiles in Cuba, US pressured them to remove. I don't want to talk about some of these things. Every country is protecting its own interest. Nobody cares about you. All they care about is their interest. And the other security-related issues, which also seconded this attack. But the primary thing is to ensure that U.S. businesses that they destroyed many years ago, where they had been in Cold War for long, these things are reset. And that's why they're telling you that they are going to take over. They have taken over that of Venezuela. They will take over that of Iran. And the next, according to U.S. Senator I listened to yesterday, said Cuba, yeah, there is a number.
So totally, right. If we look deeper, so we can say that this is all about, world politics. The quest for power, the quest for control, the quest to be the most feared across the world. Because if you also look deeper, you see that there could be an element of that rivalry between US, China and Russia, that wherever Russia goes or wherever China goes and seems to be making an inroad, US always finds a way to get in there and ensure that they get to crumble that. I think yesterday I tried to make a reference to a deal which was signed between Russia and Iran last year. That deal was signed for a 500 unit verbal Manspad deal. That was with Iran. That was in December last year. Now China is on the verge of finalizing CM-302 anti-ship missiles for the IRGC Navy. That one is still on the verge. Now, but where people are also asking questions, saying that if US actually is trying to be the police of the world in the interest of the entire globe, why are they not looking the way of North Korea that has nuclear weapon?
Well, if you look at North Korea has, just like you said, nuclear weapon, but North Korea did not in any way do anything that affect their business interests. I don't know if you understand me. Because ordinarily, if they're going into these attacks as a result of world security, they could as well go to North Korea. They could as well attack North Korea. But North Korea, if you look around, does not what they are doing. North Korea is isolated. They don't in any way affect our business interests, our common interests, our global interests. But that does not mean that if they should attack North Korea for security related reasons, they should not attack North Korea. They are looking at those countries that have oil. Venezuela, one of the oil producing nations in the world. Iran, one of the largest oil producing nations in the world. Cuba, one of the largest oil producing nations in the world. Can't you imagine the pattern? Can't you see the pattern? North Korea is not one of the major oil producing nations in the world. They have oil, no doubt, but not to that big quantity.
So if we're going to bring this in home, can we also pick this element in U.S. interest in Nigeria, where it talked about Christian genocide
as an excuse to enter into Nigerian affairs?
Exactly.
Is that what you're referring to?
Of course, they are also concerned about their oil. They have oil companies. They have.
But look at the disparity, Tony. We are talking U.S. having over, if I'm not mistaken, 11 million barrels every day, and Nigeria over less than 2 million barrels per day. So what's the interest possibly anchored on?
What is the interest?
Possibly, I mean, I understand when you talk about we have American oil companies in Nigeria, but look at the distance. These people produce over 11 million barrels per day. We produce less than 2 million barrels per day. How can they have so much and still be interested in this little that
they
we
are
have?
looking at your deposits. They are looking at your capacity. They are not looking at your production capacity. Why you are producing at that rate is because you lack production capacity. They don't buy refined. They buy raw crude. You don't refine for UX.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even understand
the raw crude that we are able to ship out to the global market daily is less than 2 million barrels. But US as a nation is able to ship out over 11 million barrels every day.
The thing is, they have more. US, when it comes to oil deposit, they have more oil than Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And we know very well when it comes to even the landmarks, they are very big.
So what's the interest? Are we still working with... This is 2026. Are they looking at modern day colonialization?
What is the global currency you use? The global currency is dollar. And dollar can always remain global currency if world countries practice capitalism. Communism will make dollar not to have the weight it has, the strength it poses. They don't want any country to practice communism. That's why they attacked Soviet Union. The Cold War between Russia and US. Russia is the home of communism. US is the home of capitalism. They believe that with communism, the world cannot even grow. With communism, people will not show their talent, will not show their targets. Everybody will be conservative. But in business world, you don't need to be conservative. But US believe that whoever works more should get more. Not if anybody works more, you aggregate and divide everything equally. You know how common that thing is.
Right.
It's important for you to understand that US is not just the police of the world, but he has created business empire around the world. So anybody that comes in any way that it affects his business empire, they will come after you.
All right, let's go on a break now. Attend to a commercial. Once we come back, the conversations will continue. To stay.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. Correct gist our people. Udala Radio get better news for now. We don't join hand with one serious mobile gaming company and we carry something big come for Onitsha people. You get phone abi? You like game? You want play with millions of players from different countries, or you just one day play and they win? Then this one now for you. Make you come join our gaming community now. You fit stand chance to make name for yourself as you dey play and dey earn. The better you sabi the game, the bigger your reward. If you dey interested, no do yourself or just send text message with your phone number, your full name, your email address. Send them go 0803-350-4206 to register. No miss the opportunity. Now better chance to join something where go sweet and reward you well. All you need now just your phone. You fit there anywhere. They play, they earn reward. Send your details now to 0803-350-4206. I got talk again. 0803-350-4206. Make we start you up today. Udala Radio. We they always bring on the correct best.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Kitchener, you're still here with us on the Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. We're moving on to other matters now. And it was on this platform that we started the conversation when news broke of the death of Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's son, 21-month-old boy, Nkanu Adichie Esege. A boy who had just come to spend Christmas in Nigeria, had medical issues, and somehow it led to his death. And according to reports, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria has issued interim suspension orders against 3 doctors after it established a prima facie case of medical negligence and professional misconduct against them in the death of Nkanu. Now, according to reports, the affected persons are Dr. Tosin Maje Kodumi, the medical director of Uracare Multi-Specialist Hospital, Dr. Titus Ogundare, an anesthesiologist at Uracare, and Dr. Atinuke Owaje, the chief medical director of Atlantis Pediatric Hospital. And Tony, according to this report, at the conclusion of its 25th session held in Abuja on 17th to 18th of February, the panel determined that a prima facie case of medical negligence had been established against the doctors, emphasizing that its findings so far are preliminary and do not amount to a final determination of the matter. And so that's the suspension. According to reports, if by the end of the trial, the end of all of the determinations on this matter, there could be a license withdrawal and possibly other stiffer penalties on this matter. But Tony, let's look at how this has eventually been reacted to. For some persons, it's about the speedy nature of this matter as against or in juxtaposition with similar matters like that have occurred in this country, and some of them happen to have just been swept under the carpet. Do you think it's about the persons being involved? That is why this matter is being pursued to a decisive end. And also, do you see this being a sort of wake-up call for the Nigerian medical system to sit up?
Well, because of the person involved, I can see the speedy and then accelerated review of all this. We saw what happened when we are told, I think it was on the 5th of January, where I think it was on January 7th, where the young man died, about 21 months old. Nkano Namdi Adichie Zege. Well, in any case, just as the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria investigation panel at its 25th section, they found a prima facie case of medical negligence and professional misconduct against 3 doctors. Dr. Tosin Majekudumi, Titus Ogundere, and Tinuke Waje, the Atlantis Chief Medical Director. Ogundere is anesthesiologist. When we talk about prima facie is a Latin term meaning at first sight or based on the first impression. We know the very drug that was administered, which was meant to sedate the young boy when they will be conducting other medical exercise. But we are told that the very drug was administered in a high dosage way. There's a way they said it. But even as this is going on, I remember that a separate coroner's inquest is ongoing at the Yaba Magistrate Court to also determine what transpired. We looked at the whole situation: overdose of the sedative propofol, failure to provide adequate oxygen and ventilation, poor monitoring, and moving the child without proper airway protection, which, according to some medical experts and the investigative panel, led to the cardiac arrest. But they say that the report is not final, but they have been able to establish negligence. If you administer propofol, which is a sedative agent, you need to monitor it. There are things you should also do immediately, and when these things are not done at the time they were supposed to be done, it amounts to negligence.
Tony, Franklin, did you follow the thread of how, when people spoke about misdiagnosis in Nigeria and how the medical system in Nigeria actually kills more people than actual illnesses? It was a long thread on Twitter a while ago. I'm pretty sure that you must have come across it, Franklin.
The thing is this: for anybody who has had 1 or 2 reasons to go to hospital in Nigeria, for diagnosis or not, the story will not sound Greek to you. I will share one experience. A friend of mine, the sister was living in Lagos then. Then all of a sudden, she fell sick, and to the point that she became concerned. So she had to move from Lagos down to Oka. So when she came to Oka, we took her to the first hospital where they did some tests and said that she had appendicitis, that she was going to go under the knife. So I asked her a question about, the kind of symptoms she was exhibiting. And she told me, I'm not a medical doctor, but out of certain kind of experience, because of some kind of ailment I have had, and also I have also had appendicitis. So I said, I now advise, why don't we go to 2 other labs to conduct tests before we can now say, okay, that this is appendicitis. Guess what? When we went to the second lab, it was confirmed to be ulcer. Went to the third one, confirmed to be ulcer. The third one confirmed to the ulcer. But the first one had initially diagnosed appendicitis.
When people get pregnant in this country, they are diagnosed of ulcer. Exactly.
So imagine what could have happened if we have gone by the first diagnosis. Now, this is just one out of several cases we have had where doctors, out of incompetence, poor machinery, use of old method, and what have you not, even in some cases, fatigue, all these things contribute to what we do have in this very country. Now, because sometimes you see some of these very doctors who leave this very country, go outside the country, and still do well. But once they are here, because of a combination of several factors, and the fact too that when somebody is found guilty of negligence, nothing happens. So people go on doing this kind of thing, knowing that nothing is going to happen. So the issue is this, like Tony said, the case of Chimamanda's son is getting attention because of who she is and how she escalated it. I have to let me also make reference to the case of Anthony Joshua, who was involved in an accident, and the government was quick to begin prosecution of the driver who drove that very vehicle. Whereas 6 persons died at Aglo Lake last week. Who has initiated any step to even find the driver? How much more prosecution? Are we talking about the ones that
did they even make it to mainstream media?
So are we talking about the ones that happened, or the ones that happened at Ugwanyama Enugu, where people were roasted? Has anybody made any move to even get the driver to prosecute? But because of, once we have high-profile persons who are involved in certain kind of thing, we begin our window dressing. Let's show the international community that we are not covering things up. Well, if this is going to be a wake-up call with the case of the son of Chimamanda Adichie, whereby if there is a negligence or if there's an allegation on negligence, it's investigated, and once it's investigated, people who are culpable should be made to face what the law says, because that's the only way you can improve on the medical system. That's the only way you can improve on oversight of our health system.
All right, then. We're moving off on that matter.
Yeah, we have actually criticized poor medical practices in Nigeria. Nobody monitors them. The profession itself, the disciplinary committee, is not well empaneled, and they may not have that broad oversight on their members, and it's a very, very disturbing trend. Many of them have shown good ethical conduct, no doubt, but there are many of them, because of the number of patients. If you go to different hospitals, you will see patients all over littering on different spaces, and these people take advantage of that. Nobody asks questions, and have shared a personal experience. Many deaths in this country are caused by poor negligence or poor ethical conduct or practices. Nobody asked question. It's disturbing. We need reform in our health sector. We need reform.
The one that gets me angry is sometimes when you go to hospital. Appendix. Now, I can recall one experience I had where I was having eye challenge, and I went to see a doctor. And guess what? He brought one small, what's it called again? One small handheld lens. And they asked me to read something. In space of 2 minutes, we were done with the examination. And he said he was going to give me a glass. Well, he gave me the glass, but I didn't use it until I went to see an ophthalmologist, because I wasn't convinced of what he did.
Ophthalmologist.
I went to see an ophthalmologist somewhere around Local Road here. And I saw the kind of test I passed.
So what your cases could be properly determined.
With machines and everything. And within me, it was thorough. Before she announced, okay, this is what we are going to do. And at the end of the day, she even told me what was wrong with my eyes. But in the very first case, nobody did that. So the thing is this: we have people we have quacks. They are there. We have people who don't even have the machinery that can help them to do the job. They just do it based on symptoms and based on experiences. At the end of the day, they get it wrong, because we know that in this era of plenty diseases, 50 ailments can present similar symptoms.
Similar symptoms, yes.
And the ones we are beginning to maybe diagnose, make prescription based on symptoms, the chances of getting it wrong are quite high.
Don't worry, AI is coming, because by the time AI fully takes its place, most of these medical practitioners that are unethical will have their way. They will be shown as it all, because the way the war is going now, you're gonna see AI performing. You're gonna see surgeon AI.
But before Nigeria is able to catch up with the way the world is going in terms of AI, I'm just curious to find out if Nigeria should go ahead and establish an independent medical negligence tribunal. And also, do you see this result bringing about a systemic reform, or just the noise on the media?
We have to go that way. This very independent negligence tribunal. Let people who have genuine concern have where to petition. There are many families who have lost their beloved ones, but they don't know who to talk to, who to meet, or how to go about it. This should be in every local government. Every local government, people who cause death should be held accountable. We are dealing with human lives, and that's why the human lives are sacred. You're not dealing with animals. It's not because of Chimamanda Adichie. I've said this many times. It has happened to me. It has happened to my sister who died. We've said this many times. You won't know how painful this is until you have such experience. It's disturbing. I've always said this. We can't continue this way. We cannot continue this way. In this country, everything goes. Everybody feels I don't care attitude. In different professions, nobody uphold the ethical conduct of the profession the person has found himself. We cannot continue this way.
All right, then. Tony, let's also quickly speak about the new Minister of State for Finance, Oyedele, that was appointed. Quickly, what do you think about this development, and is it going to bring about any desired change in the way things are done in that sector?
Well, we saw Mr. President, who, for one reason, he likes Taiwo so much. And whenever Mr. President likes you for your expertise or for something special about you, he brings you close. He gives you appointments. Has Oyedele the capacity in terms of the position? He has been nominated by Mr. President, waiting the confirmation of the Senate before he's sworn in as the Minister of State for Finance. He has the capacity. For situations where the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, Yoruba, Minister of State for Finance, Oyedele, has nominated. You also have Zacchaeus, who is in charge of Nigerian Revenue Service. You also have those around with the Governor of Central Bank, the Yoruba, the financial sector, all of them from one tribe. People are beginning to ask questions. People are beginning. The entire financial angle of this government is controlled by one tribe. Doris Uzokanit, I think, is from Imo State. Just like you said, she has been redeployed to 3 ministries, from industry to finance. Now she's going into budget and planning and other things we have said. I like Taiwo, there's no doubt. If I see somebody who is gifted, Taiwo is gifted, give it to him. He's one man that can. He's a professor at Babcock University. He's a professor. He's talented. He's good. He's qualified.
Is he qualified enough?
He's qualified. Taiwo is qualified.
All right, then.
From the little I've known about him, Taiwo is qualified. The only concern is that the entire financial angle of your government is dominated, populated by one tribe. Is a concern, no doubt. But Taiwo, well qualified, eminently qualified.
So if somebody asks, does it matter where the person is coming from if
he's qualified?
If the person is going to deliver and this person is qualified for this very job?
The Constitution says it does matter. That's why the Constitution talks about federal character. If federal character is not in the Constitution, it won't have been talking about this.
When you talk about federal character, in the application, does it apply based on sectors, or it's talking about if you are composing the entire government, let's have a few of all the nuances in the country. So what is the federal character talking about? Is it talking about, let's say, if you want to make an appointment in a particular industry or sector, it should reflect federal character, or in the entire composition of the federal government structure, there should be that balance of all the nuances and interests.
We are the one that micro narrowing federal character, but federal character, as we have it under section 14, subsection 2, it talks about the composition of government. That's what federal character talks about, in such a way that it is not tilted towards one ethnic, religious, or tribal lanes. That's what federal character is talking about. But we are micro narrowing it. That in everything we do, we must show federal character. We are the one micro narrow. He has given us the baseline, the principle. But we are saying, why you do this? Also, because if there's no tribe we will go in this country, we don't find somebody who is capable, who has the capacity, who has the credential to do this or to do that. There's no tribe. You will go, you won't find such a person. But Mr. President, I know very well that he is doing what he's doing based on the confidence he reposed in people he has called for one thing or the other. If you look at Taiwo, he's just a young man. He's 50 years. By June, Taiwo will be 51. I so much like him as a person. I so much like him. But I know where he had worked. He's from Ondo State, no doubt. He's a village boy. He was raised in a Karama Koko. That's where Taiwo was raised. And being that his father was a primary school headmaster, you understand the upbringing, you understand his time while growing up. We know very well that after he got his BSc in Applied Accounting, Oxford Brookes University in UK, he became a chartered accountant and an economist. Of course, he has done so many executive education programs at different schools like Yale University, Gordon Institute of Business, even London School of Economics and Political Science. No doubt, he worked in PwC. He joined PwC Nigeria. That was, I think, 2001. I don't know where many of us were in 2001. In fact, not just that, immediately he finished his NYC. At that period, he became an audit and tax trainee with PwC, and he grew his career while working with PwC. He became an expert when it comes to fiscal policy partner, and then Taiwo is good. Leave it for him. He's good. But the point is, the concern shared by Nigerians, and Mr. President should also look into these concerns. He should look into these concerns.
We'll come back and then round up the conversation and open up the phone lines immediately. Do stay.
104.7 Udala Radio.
Something big is coming your way.
Something extraordinary.
A festival of fast things.
Is Mega Fest 2026 and the Mega Church Silver Jubilee.
Live at the Mega Church headquarters opposite Army Gate, Onitsha.
Is our season of supernatural manifestation.
Do you need a lasting impact and supernatural shift?
Then this program is for you. Come and encounter God who is able to heal, deliver, restore, and prosper you.
Date Wednesday and Thursday, the 4th and 5th of March 2026. Time 4:30 p.m. daily. Friday, all night mega praise and worship. Time 9 p.m. While on Sunday, the 8th of March is the grand finale of this great event. Time 8 a.m.
Come and encounter God via the ministration of Bishop Bolu Martins, Pastor Ozo Jonathan, Apostle Dan Ugu, ministering in songs, Mr. M and the Revelation, and other gospel ministers.
Host Pastor Mrs. Njideka Ifanyigwe.
The pool is said, come and witness the supernatural power of God.
Correct gist our people. Udala Radio get better news for now. We don't join hand with one serious mobile gaming company and we carry something big come for Onitsha people. You get phone abi? You like game? You want play with millions of players from different countries, or you just one day play and they win? Then this one now for you. Make you come join our gaming community now. You fit stand chance to make name for yourself as you dey play and dey earn. The better you sabi the game, the bigger your reward. If you dey interested, no go yourself o. Just send text message with your phone number, your full name, your email address. Send them go 0803-350-4206 to register. No miss the opportunity o. Na better chance to join something wey go sweet and reward you well. All you need na just your phone. You fit dey anywhere, dey play, dey earn reward. Send your details now to 0803-350-4206. I go talk am again, 0803-350-4206. Make we start you up today. Udala Radio, we dey always bring una the correct best.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, Opa kitchen they do yellow. Wendy's bread, Mama Papa they like Wendy's bread, kitchen they do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's, oh Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, get it better tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's yo.
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Misha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Right then, join the conversation. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. You have a minute to air your views and, of course, try to be as objective as possible. Go straight to the point. Hello, good morning. Good morning. And you're ready to have a conversation. Put a call across. Good morning. Okay, let's do this again. 0803-221-6973. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My lady. Good morning, Ogirigada.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Francine. Good morning.
Good morning.
I rather talk about, my name is Odazwe. I want to talk about Chimamanda. I feel so sad and sorry about her. But the point is that once upon a time, I was very ill in this country. I was brought back from abroad to be treated in Nigeria only to lose a good portion of my body. In one fell swoop, just like that. And what the doctor could say that, well, when a doctor makes a mistake, it is buried. That was then. That was about 20 years ago. But having said all that, we shouldn't keep living with our mistakes, our mischief, our ignorance, and all that. It's a pity and a shame. The harm has been done. Chimamanda, I will urge you, you got to take it as it is. There's nothing you're going to do to bring back your little boy. Nothing that may feel sad alone, maybe with his kid brother and your husband. So you take it as faith. We believe in that a lot in this part of the world. No matter what you do, your boy is not going to come back, except if you decide to make a new one. Patience. Sorry. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. The doctors and all.
Hello. Okay. Let's hear you. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is George. Let me start.
Where are you calling us from, George?
But I'm happy that at least at the end of the day, that at least a little justice happened for that little young man. You see, Nigeria just happened to him. Because I believe that if not they are in Nigeria, that they are in US, where they're based, I don't believe that this kind of, we can get this kind of story. Because I can recall, I still lost my junior brother, lost his son in this exactly manner. Just that the boy was not feeling fine. He rushed him to the hospital in Asabaye. They now do a surgery that I don't even understand. Collected money from us then, I think 150,000. This is a boy of, I think a boy of 6 to 7 months. So that whether couldn't time body and now do something on the spinal cord and the rest of them. I tell you, and the person that carried that boy to the world, to the children ward. Not for me to reach my house and bath, they call me that the boy has given us a ghost. Just like that. So you now ask yourself, you know that sometimes the negligence of our doctors is something else in Nigeria here. Which even the federal government are not looking into it. This is happening now. We are hearing this news because it's the kind of person that this happened to. We don't know how many people in daily basis is experiencing what this kind of thing that is going on. We are just suffering every part of this country, talking about light, bad road, bad economy, everything. Even what? So what are we going to say that this is our benefit as a Nigerian? What's our benefit that we are witnessing the democracy? Because we are talking about even light. Look at Saudi Arabia with all the wars and all the bomb and everything. They say have light. They say have light because so somebody that a friend of mine speak to said that they are all in the bunker. They are under patrols, the video, lights all over the place. Where they are fighting war. Why in Nigeria so many years that they are not fighting my place don't even have light for the first time. So we are in a big mess in this country. We don't beg the government. Let them try a way to assist us because the citizens are getting tired. Thank you.
All right then. So he's concerned Nigeria is not at war, but we are almost living like people at war. Did you see a video that trended? I think it was a Oriental Times newspaper video. Facebook page where I saw that video trending of a supposed shooting in is it Mansour? Did you see the video?
Yeah.
And I was wondering if it's real, and how can such a situation be live and somebody has the time to actually make videos?
I'm sorry, but I have to say this. You see that you mentioned, that handle you mentioned, I don't take them seriously.
No credibility.
Until I verify myself. That's when I talk about it.
Good morning. Hello there.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Chinedu.
Good morning.
And good morning, Tony Zambeki with Mr. Frank.
You're welcome.
Maroke, you are calling from Onitsha. I'm talking about Mr. Taiwo. I had the year Mr. Speaker eulogize the man and all sorts of goodies but concerning the man. But at last, of which ministerial position that he was put into. Is it not state, Minister of State? For what benefit? Is those things that you feel that he had, where will he exercise it? So to me, this is a young man, come and collect your home share of cake we are sharing in Nigeria. Because I don't see the function of Minister of State for Finance. Finance have Minister of State. They are not serious in this country. To me, that is nonsensical nonsense. If you feel that the man is good enough, you should remove your Minister of Finance and put him in that position. Simple as that. There is nothing like a Minister of State. This is a way to chop money. That is the thing. So I'm talking about the threat of Iran and the United States of America. I've been warning this disease. I don't know why Americans choose Trump for another presidential position. When the man was the first term of Mr. Trump, he was looking for fight here and there. Upon America had told the world that we don't want fight again. Yes, this man assumed office. He was looking for fight here and there. And I know this thing will result to this. Whether we like it or not, this fight just started. And if we cannot take it, it is going to start World War. Because there are so many countries that are watching, that are so interested in pushing America from that position. That's what. Thank you very much.
All right then, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Franklin.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Tony Olisambego.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Obike from Obosi. I proceed.
Go ahead, please.
You see, one thing that I don't want to hear is about this Dangote, this or that. We have how many refineries in this country? Nobody should go for the side of that man called Dangote because we have refinery here before Dangote starts to put that structure down. Since 2015, None of our refinery has been fixed. And nobody is thinking of it from up to down. How they will fix even one refinery to help the citizens of this country. Look at the kind of country that God Almighty have blessed with a lot of mineral resources. But we are suffering today. Only fuel crude. How many items? 8 items. Name them. Zinc, grease, name them. Where the money is going to, who is collecting the money, who is making accountability of that money? It's only fuel crude, so many of them. There's none of us the ask of where that money is going, who is collecting that money. So that person will give the accountability of that money. Nobody's asking that one. We have to talk about fuel is going up, is going down. Let me tell you people, at times I will hear people, they will come out on social media on air, say that what Nigeria needs is prayer and fasting. Let me be very straight with you people. See, a prayer and fasting with just war is dead. Heaven help those who help themselves. Nigeria, we don't look. We just keep looking. Going down, we are looking. Going down every day by day. Take different states today. Every state they have issues. From this country, every state has issues. Ask questions. And we have leaders who swear with Quran and Bible that will protect life and property. We have so many things dying. I said it again. Please. The other government, I want two people to obey instruction to avoid destruction. I rest my case here. I bless all of you.
All right, thank you, PK. 0803-221-6973. Just so to remind you that we are live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. You can drop your comment right under the video related to the show. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Turn down the volume on your radio set, please.
All right. This is Akamera.
Go ahead, Akamere. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I'm Akamera is calling from Figi. I want to talk on this Chimamanda case. In fact, our problem here is because we don't have good institutions. Because if you see what these doctors are doing, it's because the thing has never affected you. Because I have one incident that happened here at Figi. We took one of our younger sisters to one hospital here. After spending very big amount of money, if you see the kind of injection they are giving to this lady, and later we lost her. And later the doctor was telling us, if you see the big amount of money he wrote there, until we will fork it out, he was forced to ask us to go without paying any money. Although we promised him to give him some money, but he was just trying to, it seems as if we are weak. Until when he saw that we are serious about what we are doing, he released the cops to us. So what I'm saying is this, we have a lot of quacks, but because they have gone to school and the federal government have issued them that certificate, and they are there working, they will accept every kind of treatment, email. They will tell you, bring it, I will treat it. And at the end of time, you will discover that they don't know what they are doing. And because the government does not care about the masses, that's why this thing is happening. If it's not Chimamanda, do you think she will get any justice for this thing? So we have problem in this place. But let's be watching what is happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Good morning. Please go ahead.
Joining you from Bo.
Go ahead, Chidi.
Let me speak on that issue of Chimamanda Adichie's experience. I'm very, very sorry for what happened to them. I commiserate with the family because I went, I had a similar incident for me. I lost my second daughter out of such a medical negligence when I was in Lagos. And it pains, very, very painful. The death of a child is a very painful thing. And when it happened that way, by just a mere negligence, it pains more.
into that medical system, it will be good for all of us. Let us not continue to think of the personality that are involved. If that personality can bring something that will bring sanity into the system, it will benefit everybody. So I like the move that is taken to make sure that no stone is left unturned. Let me stop here. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's take one more call and head over to Facebook. Good morning.
Sumi.
Good morning.
Franklin. My speaker, good morning.
Good
This is Zika reaching from Onitsha.
Go ahead, please.
Very, very pathetic about what happened to our sister Chimamanda. He's an international figure, probably. That's why her case was different. But I'm talking to you, I lost my second son. If all things are equal by now, must have been in first year in university, right here in Onitsha. The doctor was darling, laughing over the case. I, as a novice, was telling him, this is what is going on. The man was laughing. Are you getting it? Nothing could be done. And the boy went that way. I think I joined hands with system. If there's a way we can have a body we can complain to and excite the authority and deal with these people. All they care is about their money, not about human being. Sorry to say it. I have medical doctors as my brothers. Are you getting it? Something ought to be done in this country. If you go to teaching, they want to do that in teaching in a way. My God and my father we have to raise an eyebrow and tell the doctor, don't use my child to become a kind of a practice center. You look at me, say, who are you? I say, okay, if this child, this happened to this child, me and you will die here today. They now change the administration of drugs on that boy. You're getting it. They are hearing our voices. Let them practice their profession with a human heart. So we will know that this is something we can't afford, maybe something that happened that is beyond their capacity. We will know. And not because of the negligence, lives are lost, both young and old. Very, very unfortunate. Therefore, I urge I don't know if they have a body that lists it. They should begin to foreclose into the services of these medical officers, both private and government hospitals. Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's head over to Facebook now.
Okay, so let's look at the posts we have here. We have a couple of them, about 5 of them, and we're going to take them one after the other. So we begin with the first one that came from Mastobe SJP. He says, this present government of President Ahmed Tinubu is purely Yoruba government based on appointment. Nigeria Federal Character has been set aside, take or leave it. This is a big lesson for Nigerian youth. Let's be careful in our daily activities. He posted from Onitsha. Dr. Mrs. Mo Lebara from Ore says, Mr. President removes Doris and nominates Taiwo Edele as Minister of State for Finance. Where is the Charter of Equity as enshrined in the Constitution? This charter is meant to encourage oneness, fairness, equity, justice, and correct the imbalances. Is it judiciously applied? He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. How can all these posts be geared towards a section of the country? Why this lopsidedness and nepotism? This is very unfair. Let the kite perch and the eagle perch too. What is sauce for the goose is also sauce for the gander. The Nichie Billion says, Tony, I hope you are aware that Anambra State government paid the monthly salary of 35,000 naira to most Anambra teachers for the month of February because of sit-at-home madness. Okay, and then Gregory Thaddeus says, may God prevent World War III in Jesus' name. Okay, so let me have a bit of amen. So these are the reactions we have on our Facebook page.
All right, Tony. Someone is saying something about salaries to civil servants. What do you want to respond to that?
Well, government of Anambra State warned that if you do not take attendance, if you do not come for work, that this will happen, that will happen. Nothing like sit at home. Just like where we are at Udala, where the management says you must be here. If you don't come, this will happen. And before you know it, for one reason, you couldn't come on Mondays. And deductions are made. And you are complaining that the management has taken my money for not coming to work on Monday. But they want that if I don't come, that this will happen to me. And I failed to come. And it happens this way. Most times, if you take some of these organizations and imagine them being private enterprises. We come to work on Mondays here. Since this sit at home of a thing, I've been coming here. There are times I have to come from Oka, but I've not been here most times. But there are those who wouldn't want to take government's activities serious. I pity them. For those who their deductions were made on their salary, I'm saying sorry. But it's a wake-up call to you that you must take your work so serious. Many entrepreneurs will not even tolerate that. Lassity. If you are not warned, it would have been a different thing. But you were warned. All I can say is sorry to them.
All right. All Tony can say is sorry to the teachers. Thank you, Tony, for your wonderful analysis today. Frank, would you want to say sorry to the teachers as well? To the civil servants, rather.
Is it because I think those who are affected aren't just the teachers? Well, for me, it's not a matter of saying sorry to them or not. The thing is this. If we were to be fair to each other, or if we were to be fair to one another, we should assume that if government business is to be a private business, and then somebody comes to work the day she or she likes, based on one reason or the other, are you going to pay the person on pro rata or make the full payment? I'll give you an instance. A friend of mine got a job in a bank, and that was last year. She reported to work in January. Now, she reported to work on January 5th. Guess what? At the end of the month, she was not paid the full salary. The 5 days that she didn't report to work in January were deducted, and then he was not paid the rest. What am I saying in essence is this? We know that civil servants, apart from the issue of money set at home, go to many government establishments and see what civil servants are doing. You will understand why government is not being productive. Many of them are not productive when it comes to running that very service. But where I have a concern, which I think government has to look inwards, is this: they are complaining that the deductions made were irregular, that some persons had deductions more than the number of days they were absent from work. I also got another report that deductions were made across board,
whether you were at work or not.
Exactly. So this is the area I want government to look into, to investigate and see if there's any element of truth in this. If there is any element of truth in these claims and complaints or allegations, government should be able to clear that. But whether somebody's salary was deducted because the person did not report to work, I don't think it should be an issue, because in every establishment, I rest my case this very way.
All right then, thank you, Franklin, for being here today. The Polity is going to make a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. right here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Sincere apologies, we cannot take any more calls this morning. I am Chisom Chinedu. See you at 12:25, or immediately after the news today, immediately after 12:15, and that is because today we are going to be hosting one of the musical giants from here in the Southeast on the show tonight. On the show today, I'm in the Cherry Box. So you stick around, keep a date, and find out for yourselves.
Before the bridges came, before the city stretched its arms to the sky, there was a voice carried by the great Niger, whispered in the winds that danced through the Obunike caves. A voice that told the stories of kings,